Earlier this evening, we had some pretty strong storms rolling through the Wiregrass. Now we are just left with some light to moderate rainfall across the region, and it will be clearing out overnight. Over the weekend, more rain is on the way, but lower rain chances overall. I'll have the full forecast details coming up, but first, the one and only WDHN News starts now.
Well, thanks, Scott. An Enterprise man is charged with shooting a door-to-door salesman, and burglary suspects are arrested in several Wiregrass and Northwest Florida cities. Well, good evening, and thanks for choosing WDHN as your local news source at 10 o'clock. Well, a door-to-door salesman shot on the street in the city of Progress, and authorities, along with police, want to know why. Now, on Thursday afternoon, an alarm security salesman was going door-to-door on Martin Street in Enterprise selling alarm services. Now, at one point, homeowner Tony Davis approached the salesman and the two got into a heated argument. Police say it then escalated and Davis pulled out a gun and shot the victim. Now, the 52-year-old Davis is now charged with attempted murder. An Enterprise police spokesman describes the entire situation.
And we'll just move forward with all our documentation and presentment to the court system with the information we have at this time.
Now the victim is in stable condition and is expected to be okay. The suspect was booked into the Coffee County Jail. A 19-year-old Ashford man is charged with robbing someone at a Dothan downtown motel in June. Spencer Cochran has been taken into custody by Dothan police and charged with first-degree robbery. Cochran is reportedly one of several suspects in the case and is in the Houston County Jail on a $30,000 bond. Previously, 20-year-old Christopher Bean was also arrested for his alleged involvement in the crime as well. And tonight, an arrest has been made in the shooting from last month. 19-year-old Tashawn Bryan is charged with shooting into an occupied building on Sherwood Drive. Fortunately, no one was injured in that particular incident. A 30-year-old Dothan woman has been charged with financial exploitation of an elderly person. Details are rather limited, but she allegedly stole $500 from an elderly person, Dawson, not related to the victim, according to police, and has since been released under a $15,000 bond. And this evening also, Troy police arrested Roderick Gosha on burglary charges. Last week, Troy authorities investigated a home burglary on Gibbs Street. Now, the homeowner reported electronics and video games missing. Late this afternoon, the 33-year-old suspect turned himself into the Troy City Jail. Now, folks, let's check in with Mr. Scott Roberts with your Friday night and weekend first forecast. Scott, here in the eastern Houston County area, we received a free fireworks show of sorts put on by Mother Nature.
Oh, we sure did, and even more to the west of the area. We were looking at those lightning bolts earlier in the evening, but out to the west, that's where we were really tracking some pretty strong storms across the region. Right now, Action Radar scanning the skies, and we are looking at those cells starting to really dissipate as far as the heavy rain. You can see the yellows dying off as they are moving off to the east near Bainbridge along US 27. More to the west, that's where the storms were a little bit stronger. Some trees reported down in western Coffee County, a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust at the airport. Not severe, but that's strong enough to cause some issues. Thankfully, that's all we've had as far as severe reports out of the strong thunderstorms earlier in the evening. Tonight, we'll be cooling off to the mid-70s by tomorrow morning, and we'll be warming up into the 80s by 10 o'clock, a mix of sun and clouds. And then going beyond that is when we do have the chance of having some showers and thunderstorms. Overall, right around a 30% chance, so that's enough that you want to keep an eye to the sky in case things do start to develop in your area. But overall, those rain chances lower than where they were for today. We'll take a full look at the weekend forecast plus a peek at the next work week coming up. Mike?
All right, Scott, appreciate it very much. Well, the Enterprise City Council has put the brakes on for curbside pickup recycled items, and that goes into effect October 1st. Enterprise sends all recycling to Coffee County and also pays for the cost of collection while receiving little revenue. The city council members say it costs the city more than $400,000 annually, a cost they no longer want to incur. The city will set up a recycling collection point, but that location has not been designated at this time. And continuing in the City of Progress, the city has officially launched a citizen software program where the public will be able to view online all city finances. Now, since being elected last year, City Councilman Turner Townsend has lobbied for city finances and expenditures to be available to the public. Communication Director Jason Wright says the program will help keep the powerful more accountable.
We are responsible for how the tax dollars are spent. We are responsible to the citizens of how their taxpayer dollars are spent. So it's a method that helps hold us accountable, and the public can actually see where their pennies and where their dollars are going and how they're being spent.
Now, to view the information, you could go to enterpriseal.gov and click on Transparency and follow that particular link. A piece of Samson's downtown pass is soon scheduled for demolition. The old police station and jail, built in the 1920s, will be a thing of the past, and that's literally. Recently, the Samson City Council deemed the structure an eyesore. It's located next to the old Samson Bank, which is being remodeled to be the new City Hall. Now, once the old building is removed, the space will be used for parking. It was built during the Great Depression and has served several different capacities. It hasn't been used since the early 1990s. There's no timetable when the 90-year-old structure will be demolished. Now, if you have been to Lake Eufaula recently, then you may have noticed all this stuff all around the docks and the designated swimming areas. An invasive species known as hydrilla, native to Asia, has been choking off the water.
Seems like it's a lot worse, especially at the boat ramp.
2006 is when we started having a real big problem, and at that point we developed the grass carp. We ended up getting grass carp, and we did an environmental assessment to get those grass carp in the lake. It can burn up motors, jet skiers, burn up motors for that, just property values.
Anhydrilla is treated with herbicides, but it's not always that effective. Now, as that gentleman just said, at Merritt's Mill Pond in Mariana, also the state of Florida has introduced grass-eating carp, which has had rather mixed success there in Jackson County. Well, folks, here's a look outside thanks to the Durden Digital Network. And right now, this is Enterprise. You can see the wet streets there. Few cars, and that's kind of surprising on a Friday night. Scott Roberts is the next with your Keeping It Local forecast. We'll be right back.
You're watching WDHN News with Mike Gerspan and Chief Meteorologist Scott Roberts. This weather segment is sponsored by Physicians Hearing Center.
Earlier in the evening, we were tracking some strong and severe thunderstorms in the western part of the area, Covington County into Coffee and Geneva County. But for the most part, the storms around the area were behaving, staying below severe limits, and most of the heavier rain is now moving to the east. Donaldsonville, Bainbridge, all seeing that heavier rain, just some of that lighter residual rain for us in the western part of the coverage area. And all this is going to continue to move off to the east and die out as we head into the overnight hours. So overall, conditions will be drying out, and we could have some patchy fog developing by tomorrow morning simply because of all the moisture in place. Rainfall amounts not too dramatic, not too high for us this evening. Now off to the west, for the most part, that's where the heavier rain was, just to the west of Covington County. 3.5 estimated over the last 24 hours, but for the most part, not impressive at all for us. 3.5 estimated northwest of Donaldsonville, so most of us did miss out on that heavier rain. Now for tomorrow, most of us will be missing out on the widespread rain as well. Rain chances have backed off compared to where they were looking like they were going to be earlier in the week, right around 30% for us for Saturday afternoon. High temperatures in the lower 90s, and then once some of those storms do begin to develop, those temperatures will drop off a bit and staying pretty muggy then overnight into Sunday morning. Conditions will be staying warm. Now here's how things are playing out on our forecast model. The rain will be clearing out, still tracking some showers and a few storms across the southeast, but not moving through our area. There's a chance that some of us could make it into the upper 60s by tomorrow morning. Mix of sun and clouds to start the day, and then it's in the afternoon when we'll have some movement from the north to the south. Aloft, bring in some showers and storms from the north, but most of us staying pretty dry. Heaviest rain chances will actually be down at the coast, just inland of the beach locations, but overall the rain chances down at the beach will be a little bit higher than where things will be for us here in the Wiregrass, and then early Sunday morning clearing out, and then again it's in the afternoon hours when we have the peak heating when some of those showers and storms do develop. So for Saturday and for Sunday, with high temperatures in the lower 90s, we do have the chance of some strong thunderstorms developing of what does move through the area, but overall widespread severe weather is not anticipated. Maybe one or two could reach limits of severe weather, but overall we're not really expecting that. For tonight, closer home, there's all that activity moving out of the region. Temperatures cooling off overall into the lower 70s by tomorrow morning. Then a few showers and storms developing, heavier rain down toward the coast, Fort Walton Beach, Panama City Beach, seeing some of that as well, and then dying off as we do head into the later hours of Saturday. Sunday then starting out pretty dry for us. Rain chances right around 30% for Sunday as well. A little bit higher as we head into Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday we're back into that 30% range. Temperatures will be on the warm side, if not downright hot. Lower 90s expected, slightly above average for next week with those lower rain chances. As far as this weekend, check it out. Our forecast model projecting most locations will miss out on the heavier rain. Where you see that green shading, that's where you could see maybe about 1/10 of an inch for a lot of locations. For tonight, we'll be seeing those rain showers clearing out. 73 degrees for that low temperature for most locations by tomorrow morning. Scattered showers and storms in the later afternoon hours for Saturday. Heading to the beach, keep an eye to the sky in the later afternoon hours. It's going to be rather breezy down there. 87 degrees for the high temperature. West wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. So certainly hold on to your hats if you're heading to the beach. Rain chances will increase on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll have a typical pattern, except it looks like those rain chances will be slightly higher for Thursday and Friday, with those temperatures then cooling up. But until then, we'll be dealing with those temperatures in the lower 90s. Heat index temperatures middle to upper 90s for us next week.
You know, it may be my imagination, but it seems like maybe a little less humidity than what we had just 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it hasn't been excessively hot. We haven't been looking at heat index temperatures 110 or so, but either way, it's we're starting to see some improvement in that department.
And I know here in the Circle City, hoping for dry weather at least tomorrow night, and I'll explain why here, because you must be at least the Wiregrass Museum of Art's annual yard party is a one-night music festival that will be held on the lawn of the museum. Now, that event will be tomorrow between 6 at night till midnight. The event includes a lineup of live music as well as art installations and food. The Wiregrass Museum of Art invites all to support the community.
A group at the museum, the board of trustees, and some other volunteers, and they decided to hold this party out in the yard, and it's just been going strong ever since.
Now you must be 18 or older to attend the yard party in the event of severe weather. Purchased tickets are considered a donation to support the mission of the Wiregrass Museum of Art. Well, 4 new movies open in wide release this weekend. Which one figures to take the biggest bite out of the box office? Well, David Daniels has our forecast and this week's now showing.
Hold this.
Oh my God. It's Megalodon. He's kidding, right?
The supersized shark flick The Meg swims into cinemas, with Jason Statham facing off against a mammoth sea creature thought long extinct. Analysts predict the thriller will top the weekend box office, but with only $20 to $22 million, a far cry from its reported budget of $150 million.
The KKK is planning an attack. We'll need a white officer to play me when they meet face to face.
Spike Lee returns with Black Klansman, about a black cop looking to infiltrate the local KKK chapter. The drama is getting strong reviews and is looking at a debut of $8 to $12 million. Filling out the field, box office watchers say Slender Man should open with anywhere from $8 to $16 million. Horror films can be difficult to track. And Dog Days, about strangers brought together by their four-legged friends, figures to bow wow with less than $10 million. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Bow wow the competition. You gotta love it, folks. Well, next on the news at 10 o'clock, a man who spent a decade of his life behind bars. Well, he recounts his experiences in prison, and what he has to say may shock you. The full report after the break.
And time keeps dragging on.
Welcome back, folks. Well, a South Carolina woman tried to get out of a DUI arrest by reminding officers of her race. That's after speeding past a residential stop sign at 64 miles per hour. Now, 32-year-old Lauren Cutshaw was pulled over by officers and given a series of sobriety tests. When she began telling them why she shouldn't be arrested, her reasons included being a cheerleader, a college graduate, and a clean, thoroughbred white girl. Officers, well, they arrested Cutshaw for driving under the influence, speeding, and marijuana possession. Well, life behind bars can be tough, and anyone who has been inside prison before that knows it. WDHN's Sarah Drake spoke with one former inmate who spent nearly a decade of his life incarcerated and got his views on life behind bars.
Anytime you get incarcerated and you go and you have to shower, and it's 4 showers with 20 people showering, that's horrible. When you got a dorm of 150 people, but then you have 7 toilets, 5 sinks, and 4 showers, that's horrible. Anytime you eat a meal that was cooked 8 hours prior to the time that it's being served, that's horrible.
Moss, who has been incarcerated on 2 different occasions, says the officers inside are different and that the younger generation of officers don't take their job seriously.
I think they're just there to draw a paycheck because the sense of respect that was there 20 years ago versus now is no longer there. I think there are some good officers, but I also think there are some corrupt officers as well. And I do believe that, and that's just the truth of the matter.
And Moss used one word to describe what prison felt like to him.
I would describe the prison environment as being equivalent to Afghanistan because you're at war every day. War with yourself, war in your mind, war with other inmates, war with officers, war with the administration. It is totally Afghanistan.
And Moss says he thinks that the system as a whole needs to be revamped and revitalized. Well, folks, it's back tonight. High school football scrimmage football games in eastern Houston County. That fabulous, wet and slippery Futaji falling on the other side of halftime.
This sports segment sponsored by A&D Automotive Group, located in Dothan and Enterprise.
Welcome back, folks. Well, the long wait for high school football right here in the Wiregrass is now over. Despite being a preseason jamboree, Northside Methodist hosted a scrimmage at its new designated arena, Layton Field, which was part of the now defunct Ashford Academy. Uncle Zachariah, it's time to roll that pigskin fuchashi. Well, thunder and lightning, along with periods of heavy rainfall, was the order of the evening. Now, besides the Knights, Alabama Independent Schools, Lee Scott Academy, and Crenshaw Christian, along with Georgia Private Schools, Terrell Academy of Dawson, and Westwood Academy out of Camilla. Scores were not really a part of this competition, though. There were a total of 4 teams playing on the gridiron at the same time. Several of the Northside Methodist Knight players gave their opinions about playing in the deluge of thunder and lightning.
I mean, it's pretty fun for real, because it's not hot. I mean, we ain't playing, but yeah. I was about to say, because we already played our game. We're just sitting here. Yeah. We're just sitting here rooting the varsity on.
Rooting for the varsity. What else can you say? And over the state line in the Peach State, traditional rivals Early County and Seminole County held a scrimmage in bad weather in Blakely tonight. I don't know about the folks at home in TV land, but I'm feeling the fever, football fever that is. And of course, our 30-minute high school highlight show begins next Friday night. I can't wait, and I know you on the living room couch can't wait either. Well, speaking of the Northside Methodist Knights, they are looking to turn things around in a big way, turn around their fortunes. Earlier this year, the school hired Georgia native Jason Hurst to take over the school's football program. In 2017, the Knights were winless at 0-10, but Coach Hurst has worked to rebuild interest in football on campus. It has apparently worked. He has nearly doubled the number of boys going out for football. That has the school's athletic director excited as well.
It helps the fans, because last year we had even referees one time showed up at the wrong field, so we got delayed waiting on them to drive from Dothan to Ashford. So it'll eliminate some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they finally have a home field, which we say is where the old Ashford Academy used to be. Now, in the exhibition action tonight, the coaches are getting a gauge of the talent on their respective rosters. The Ashford Yellow Jackets are also looking to rebound following a terrible 2017 season. The Jackets went a miserable 1-9 earlier last year. Well, Chris Littleton was hired from Samson High as Ashford's new head coach. Littleton is looking to implement a high-octane offense, plenty of passing, and lots of fun and gun.
The biggest thing is coming in and trying to install our culture. The way that we do things is drastically different from the way that things have been done there in the past, and that's not to say that ours is better. It's just very, very different. So we had to come in day one and teach kids how we want them to line up, how we want them to stretch.
And on Friday night, August 24th, the Yellow Jackets head over to fellow Houston County School, the Rehoboth Rebels. Ashford coach Littleton says his team has been doing well learning the new offensive philosophy. Recently, Coffee County school officials made the decision to promote from within. They have named Eric Reynolds as New Brockton High School's new boys basketball coach. Reynolds was a former assistant coach for head coach Anthony Carter, who has since left the program. School officials say it was an advantage to promote from within. Reynolds is also an assistant Gamecock football coach. Tonight, an old controversy has been rekindled in the National Football League stadiums nationwide. President Trump is lashing out again at the NFL players for their national anthem protests. Some athletes took to their knees and raised fists during preseason games on Thursday night. Now, many African Americans say hateful racial rhetoric was only amplified when they do nothing. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says if any of his players don't stand for the anthem, they can find employment somewhere else. It doesn't appear the controversy will end anytime soon. And the annual Auburn Day will take place 3:30 to 5:30 tomorrow afternoon behind the Auburn Athletics Complex in the indoor practice facility. Access to the practice field will open at approximately 3:15 to allow fans to begin getting in line for autographs. Entrance to the practice facility will be from the Beard Memorial Coliseum parking lot on the north side of the practice field. And at this time, former Slocum standout Clay Holmes is on the mound for the Pirates against the San Fran Giants on the West Coast. The 2011 Red Top grad earned his first Major League career victory in his last appearance with the Pirates. That was in mid-July. He was then optioned back to the team's AAA club. Overall, Holmes, well, he's appeared in 4 games, 2 as a starter and 2 as a reliever. So let's hope for Mr. Holmes to beat them Giants tonight on the West Coast. Well, anyway, folks, that's a look at sports. We'll be back with Scott Roberts in your weekend forecast. And here's another look outside this evening on the Durden Digital Network, and that's Highway 84, or rather Wet Highway 84. We'll be back. Anymore, you know, years ago, as a car salesman, they would do some crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I guess it's a different audience.
I guess. Yeah. People are a little more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Huh? Huh? What do you want? What do you want? Okay, how much time do we have? What's the kicker? No, we can do the kicker. Yeah, I can do 30. Yeah, just you know, wrap me up.
Oh, you got a kicker?
Yeah. For Saturday's fish and game forecast, expect the bite to be excellent on and off throughout the day. Keep an eye to the sky. Those showers and storms will be building in the later afternoon hours. We'll be looking at our high temperature in the lower 90s. Similar conditions will be expected for the next work week.
Well, Scott, you know, you talk about bite.
Yeah.
And it was quite a bite as far as sharks are concerned.
Oh, it sure is. A 25-million-year-old mega shark. The mega shark teeth were discovered on a beach south of Melbourne, Australia. Get this, the pair of fossilized teeth are from a prehistoric great jagged narrow-toothed shark, almost twice the size of today's great white sharks. Isn't that cool?
Woo, that is cool. And you know what's cool? This weekend, have a great weekend.